on. Well, yeah, that's horrible. I remember I did a rear toe adjustment on a Vette this body style once. I mean, as soon as I saw that vacuum gauge bumping like that, I knew it had to be something mechanical.
On this episode of Chase Classic Motors, we're flipping the script and featuring one of America's most popular, most recognized, and most mainstream sports cars with this 1980 Chevrolet Corvette C3. Produced from 1968 to 1982, the third-generation Corvette was born to be GM's road warrior for the space age. With its iconic, shark-like body shape, a knife-edge prow, and a range of high-performance engine options, this stylish two-seater evoked the maritime spirit that gave the car its nautical name. While not as popular as Ford's more versatile Mustang, the Chevrolet Corvette was always destined to be GM's blue riband of the highways, a purpose-built, purebred, port-tacking powerhouse with all the straight-line speed of a muscle car, combined with the lightness, nimble handling, and controlled braking of a sports car. And although it started out as GM's frontline flagship in the muscle car wars, the C3 Corvette would soon see its T-crossed and its legacy tarnished during the interregnum of the Malais-era, as the minefield of insurance laws and emission standards threatened to drop anchor on Corvette's legacy for performance and handling once and for all. Fast forward by 4 decades, and the C3 Corvette is still regarded, albeit begrudgingly, as the stalwart sports car that weathered the storm of uncertain times during America's most discordant decades. That makes this 1980 model an underdog in our eyes, and the perfect pup to rescue, as this Corvette is currently in the doghouse with its frustrated owner. It seems that this particular Vette is moving more like a tugboat than the sprightly warship it was designed to be. That will give Eric a chance to float it into our dry dock and see if he can determine why a recent tune-up was unsuccessful at making this Corvette shipshape and ready to cast off. So let's weigh anchor and find out if the C3 Corvette is still a gear-shifting gunboat as we dive in to the beating heart of America's greatest sports car and discover if this unsinkable classic will manage to sail once again. Today on Chase Classic Motors. Well, here we see something a little mainstream, Eric.
Yeah, it's a Malais-era car, but it's not one of the Malais-era cars we work on so often here.
It is a Corvette, but it's a C3 Corvette. So what's going on with it?
Well, a little bit of a tale of woe. This customer noticed he had a misfire, took it to another shop. They did a lot of work to it, intake gasket, carb rebuild, full tune-up, and it never got rid of the misfire.
Now, they also discovered it had a bad number 6 ignition wire.
Yes, and I was just about to say that. You know, if someone had brought me a car that had, well, and he's actually got the wire in the car. So this was number 6 ignition wire right here. You got the spark plug on it. And where was it? Oh yeah, right there. It melted from the exhaust, and I think it actually, I don't remember if he said it, did it come off and fell on the exhaust or what?
Clear, obvious sign of a misfire, though.
Well, yeah, that's horrible.
Horrible. Horrible. Just horrible.
So, you know, if someone brought me, if a customer brought me a car with an ignition wire on it that looked like this, I'd say, oh yeah, it needs an ignition wire. You know, slam dunk, let's do a tune-up on it and it's fixed. Unfortunately, something else just happens to have happened to this car at about the same time that this was noticed.
I believe you described this as a classic red herring.
Yeah. It really was. So when they did the tune-up, I'm sure they were shocked that it didn't fix the car. So I did a little bit more digging. When I noticed that this car had had so much work done on it and it hadn't fixed the misfire, I was like, okay, it's time to put a vacuum gauge on it and see what happens. And yeah, the vacuum gauge was bumping, which was a bad sign. I took the valve covers off this car, started the engine, and I'll show you what I saw in a little bit. One of the rocker arms wasn't moving. And just to try it, I adjusted them all, especially the one that wasn't moving, and it still didn't do anything. I'll show you.
I see we have the valve covers off.
Yep.
You've got the air cleaner off. There's the carburetor.
I could put that side back on if we wanted to, but I think I got the key on. Maybe I didn't put the key on.
Put it in H!
I was gonna try to start it up for you guys. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera, but take a look at all the rockers here. They're all moving.
Not good.
I take it that now makes it a V7 instead of a V8, Eric.
Yeah. Let me shut it down.
Well, you have certainly proven beyond a shadow of doubt what has happened to this Corvette 350.
Yeah, and you know, like I say, I did try to adjust it already. I tried to adjust all of them, but it didn't change it at all.
And what does it mean if that number 6 exhaust valve is not opening?
It means the cam lobe is wiped out. So of course the lobe is supposed to have like an egg shape to it. So when it comes around, it pushes up on that lifter, pushes up on the push rod, moves the rocker arm and opens the valve. But the cam lobe is wiped out. You can kind of see in there. I don't think it's gonna show up on video, but there is a little space between the valves where you can look way down in there. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it because the flashlight and the camera have to take up the same space almost. But you can see down in there. It's nothing like, you know, the push rod has bent or fell off of the lifter or anything like that.
Like you saw with that 64 Ford Thunderbird.
Yeah, that Thunderbird we had here. Well, and the push rods came off because they were bent. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something funny here. It looked like a push rod was almost missing, and I looked down inside and I found out it was there, but it looks like that. So, you know, next step, of course, is to take the heads off.
I've heard people tell us to get bent, but holy cow.
Yeah.
So in this case, you have a rocker arm that wants to move, you've got a lifter that wants to lift, and you have a push rod that wants to push, but there's nothing to lift the lifter to push the push
nothing
rod.
pushing on the lifter.
So the camshaft itself, the number 6 lobe, has
Number 6 exhaust.
the number
I think
6
that's
exhaust lobe.
Yep,
has-
that's exhaust.
I take it has flattened its own foot off.
Yeah, which is something that these small block Chevys of this vintage are kind of known for.
It's not true. That's impossible.
And it's not the customer's fault. It's probably not that he wasn't changing the oil or anything. Those lobes just kind of have a hard time getting oil to them on these engines.
No!
So he, at the very least, needs a cam and a lifter. And then, well, I mean, if you do the cam, you should do all the lifters because they break in together.
And you spoke to a friend of yours who's a GM expert and collector, and what was his diagnosis as soon as you told him what you were suspecting?
He told me it's common. You know, I like to talk to people that have a little bit more experience when I can. And I already kind of knew. I mean, as soon as I saw that vacuum gauge bumping like that, I knew it had to be something mechanical. It was almost certainly a valve. So,
And if you're doing valve train like that, you're going to be replacing the timing chain set and everything too to go along with it. So I went ahead and we quoted out the price for the customer, and he wasn't happy with the news, but I did tell him that you tried the easy fix first.
Yeah.
You tried to get that valve to respond, and no dice. So it's going to need a full cam and lifters, which is not cheap. So in this case, what do you think the customer's going to want to do?
I think he's thinking about putting a crate engine in it.
You want to tell me something? How are we going to get that thing on the truck, huh? Have you seen the size of this crate?
Yeah.
Because it's not that much more money, and it would give him more power. You know, and I'm sure this car isn't slow the way it is, but it is a Malais-era car. What's a 350 four-barrel rated at in 1980? 180 horsepower or so?
The L48 engine was rated at 190 net horsepower, and the L82 upgraded engine, which was available this model year, was rated at 230.
Oh, that's pretty healthy, actually.
Not bad for 1980
Uh-huh.
model years, but in this situation, and the customer told me over the phone, this car's always been a dog. But it is a black on black 4-speed car.
Yeah,
it's a 1980 model. It's the one that he's always liked the most. He's owned multiple C3 Corvettes. And he's told us, if push comes to shove, he's willing to go the extra mile to put a crate engine in it, once you give him the recommendation as what the most cost-effective solution is, to give him the extra power that he's always wanted out of this car.
Cool. Well, my kind of guy. I'm glad he wants to save it. I was a little bit afraid because it's an 80 Corvette. It's not really one of the more desirable years. I was afraid that for the car's sake that he might not want to save it, that this car might become somebody's future barn find 20 years from now.
Or some kid's first project.
Yeah, and that would be cool too.
It's the car of a lifetime. It took him all year to build it.
Now I'm going to drive that thing right up to General Motors' front door.
But I'm glad that he wants to save it.
And we're all about saving and preserving and protecting the great cars, even the unsung ones.
Yeah.
Here at Chase Classics.
Call me crazy. I'm almost hoping he wants to take the crate engine and put the smog pump back on and an air aspirator. He's not gonna want to.
I don't know if he's as crazy as us.
No, I don't think he is. We're nuts.
Why do they call you nuts? Because I'm crazy.
But that would be a fun sleeper project. So, okay, Eric, well, gosh, that is one successful diagnosis. I've already given the customer the good news, bad news. The good news is we can do something about it. The bad news is this engine is pretty much foregone.
Yeah, I mean,
at this point.
It's rebuildable. If anyone ever cared about having, this car as a numbers matching car, it is savable. Mm-hmm. It's just that if he wants power, he's better off just with a crate engine, something like more compression and all that stuff. So
sounds good. Well, we'll pick this up again. I take it you're going to put the 350 V8 back together.
Yeah, I'm going to put it back together. Either way, I don't know if he's got the money for it now. We got to do a little research onto what 350 is the most cost effective for him, is going to give him what he wants and all that stuff. Going to come with a good warranty, not going to leave him stranded, all that good stuff. So I'm just going to put this back together. He's going to take it away for a little while until we figure out what we're going to do. And God knows we got lots of other cars we gotta work on. It's late May now, so car show season is starting and people want their cars back so they can enjoy them for the summer.
Absolutely. That's the name of the game. Here in Detroit, car show season is in full swing. We'll pick this up again, perhaps, very soon, with a 1980 Chevrolet Corvette C3. Nice job, Eric.
Yeah, you got to see it.
So while Eric gets to work putting our customer's Corvette back together, let's take a look at how America's iconic sports car evolved into the 1980s. It's almost hard to believe that the iconic Corvette will soon be celebrating its 75th anniversary. In fact, few cars exist today that have remained so true to form and spirit since their inception. For comparison, Ford's longest-running production car, the Mustang, while mostly remaining a sporty 2+2, recently marked its 60th birthday. Meanwhile, Mopar's coveted Charger has been reborn as everything from a mid-level trim muscle car, to a personal luxury car, to a 4-cylinder subcompact, to a mid-size 4-door sports sedan. Yet the Corvette has remained true to form since it was christened in 1953, as a fun, stylish, and sporty 2-seater. This formula has remained intact ever since the car was proposed as Chevrolet's first purpose-built sports car, as envisioned by its leading engineer, Zora Arkus Duntov, and its visionary inventor, Harley Earl. While the origin of its French name, Corvette, refers to a class of small and maneuverable armed sailing ship, this Chevrolet, also a French name, was designed to be the company's halo car, one that would inspire buyers to gradually build up their automotive arsenal and aspire to buy Chevy's ultimate offering one day. By the mid-60s, the second-generation Corvette Stingray had cemented the car's reputation for performance, style, speed, and desirability. Thanks to the contributions of lead engineer Duntov, the Corvette's improved power and refined handling was elevated even further by its drop-dead gorgeous looks offered by styling chief Bill Mitchell. Then in 1965, Mitchell and his team unveiled a new concept version they dubbed the Mako Shark II. This car featured all the radical curves and marine aesthetic that the Corvette C3 would become synonymous with. Mitchell himself is seen demonstrating the car's functional design in this archival video by GM. The inspired designer of the Shark was Larry Shinoda, whose parents were from Japan. Shinoda had brilliantly blended his and Mitchell's ideas into the attractive looks of the C2 Stingray, and was also behind several other notable GM prototypes. By the '68 model year, the all-new C3 Corvette was a shark ready to eat the competition alive. With its independent front and rear suspension, aquatic body design, lightweight exterior, and 427 cubic inch engine options, this siren of the street was no wet fish. It was also the first production car in the US to feature a removable T-top roof, an option that would become notably popular throughout the 1960s and 70s. In many ways, the C3 Corvette was a step forward in the evolution of the American sports car. However, throughout the car's historic 14-year run, Chevy would make only moderate tweaks and adjustments to manage new federal regulations and their customers' expectations, almost as if they perceived that this Vette would satisfy America's sports car demand for a generation. Question is, were they right? Perhaps TV automotive magazine MotorWeek offered the best summary of the performance and capabilities of the C3 Corvette as they celebrate the car's 30-year milestone in this video essay from 1982.
This car is very quick. Our 40 to 55 mile per hour passing test was eliminated in only 3.2 seconds. It's hard to believe that a 3,400-pound automatic could move that fast. There is certainly no want for adequate power in the 82 Corvette. Its quarter-mile time was 16 seconds flat at 84 miles per hour, a full 2 seconds faster than my 78. The Vette is amazingly exposed for a high-performance car, and except for spark plugs, reachable only from underneath, most items are easily serviced. But the real source of all that power is a unique GM-only electronic fuel injection system that uses two manifold injectors placed opposite the cylinders they service, hence the name Crossfire. Not only is the 82 Corvette an improved straight-line performer, but handling is also improved. Always a level car, the addition of a high-tech rear plastic leaf spring suspension and extremely sticky 60 series Goodyear Eagle GT tires allowed a fast transit of our low-speed handling course. The variable ratio power steering, something I've never gotten used to, seems heavier, probably due to the larger tires. Yet I'm glad to say quicker without being trickier. In a high-speed test, it used to be possible to turn the wheel just a bit too much and spin an older Vette like a bottle. And although the 82 is better, the light rear end is still prone to twitch when pushed. But you're not likely to have a case of nerves over this Corvette's brakes. From 30 miles per hour, panic stops averaged a short 30 feet with only occasional premature locking of the front wheels. In closing, let me remind you of two other facts of life about a Corvette that only owners can appreciate. Despite whatever GM tells us, this is basically a Chevrolet in shark's clothing. That means available service in almost every small town from coast to coast, something no import sports car can claim. And one more thing, my 78 is worth about 80% of its original cost. Most 4-year-olds will not even bring half their new price. So whatever else you might think of a Corvette, they do seem to hold their price. But is the 82 Vette really worth twice what my 78 cost? Well, no, not to me. But it's obvious from all those that drooled as we flew past that when it comes to the original four-wheeled American dream, price may never be an object.
So now that we've taken a closer look at the fiberglass fun machine that gave Americans what they wanted and then told them what they could have, let's catch up with Eric and see what else we can learn about America's oldest and most popular sports car before we have to throw this one back.
Now it can come down. You know, this has, I think it's the same power steering on it that Mercury Cougar had on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's not, it's interesting. I'm sure they did this because they didn't have any room, but it doesn't have a power steering box. It's got basically a piston and a valve. So when the valve notices you're starting to steer, it puts hydraulic pressure to one side or the other of this piston, which pushes on the steering linkage and gives you your power steering. It's the same as that Mercury Cougar we had here for your buddy, the orange one, which was, what was that, a Dan Gurney special or something?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, same thing. Although this is leaking a lot less.
Well, any other obvious issues with this 1980 Corvette?
Issues? No. It's pretty nice under here, actually. I mean, you don't see a lot of leaks or anything like that.
No.
Looks like people have been putting money into it. It's got fairly new brake hoses. Brake lines have surface rust on them, but it's not that deep, crusty rust that scares me. Famous transverse rear leaf spring here.
An independent rear suspension with a lightweight fiberglass monoleaf spring, a technological innovation that provides the flex needed by the rear wheels to precisely follow road contours.
These things that look like sway links are actually supporting the weight of the car. I remember I did a rear toe adjustment on a Vette this body style once. You do it up here and you swap shims from side to side of this control arm, and that turns your control arm in and out and adjusts your toe. It was a nightmare. It was awful. It was not at all easy to do.
Well, thank goodness this car isn't in here for that.
No, and then, I mean, what else? I think you can adjust the camber back here too. I don't remember, that was a long time ago that I did that. Yeah, you can. So this link here goes to a cam-centric bolt here, and you'd adjust that to push that link in and out, and that's going to adjust your rear camber.
Interesting. Well, while it's up in the air, let's get one tracking shot of the underbody of this thing. All is well.
As well as it can be in a car with a wiped out exhaust lobe. Even though it was exactly what I expected, I was still impressed.
Well, Eric, everything looks just like it did when it rolled in here.
Yeah, that's the idea.
It is always unfortunate when we have to give a customer back a broken car, but as we've described, this car is going to need a full engine out and either a full engine rebuild or a brand new crate motor.
Yeah.
So we'll have to put that on the back burner till later this season when we actually have the flexibility and the space here at the shop, because as you pointed out, it is peak driving season.
Yeah, I hope this guy gets to, I mean, he could, I don't know. He could show up at a car show. It looks like a nice car. As long as people don't hear him start it up and drive away, I guess. I don't know. I hope he gets to enjoy it somehow.
Absolutely. But until then, we'll get it on its way. And
I just remembered. There we go. I unhooked that because I kept bumping it with my arm and burning myself.
Yes! 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 Yes!
well, friends and neighbors, there you have it. A quick ride back in time to remember the legacy of the C3 Corvette, America's pleasure craft in a choppy sea of turbulent times. With over 350,000 produced over a 14-year run, they left their mark on American automotive culture during those turbulent days of the 1960s and 70s, a time when America's aspirational dreams were low, but primed for an incredible rebound in the 1980s.
If ever a car sells itself, it's this one, Corvette. Sports coupe and convertible. America's only true sports car. America's #1 aspiration car.
And as the excellent 80s would bring more glitz, glamour, cheesiness, and fun into our popular culture, the C3 Corvette was right at home, offering buyers young and old a dose of excess and raucous sex appeal in an age when everything was over the top and the bottom. What started out as an arch rival to the rip-snorting muscle cars on the streets of 1968 would soon be in a class all by itself, as the combination of industry regulations and the shifting taste from buyers led to the end of the muscle car and the ascension of the personal luxury car by 1975. Yet the C3 Corvette seemed to be equally at home in both camps. While not a luxury car by any standard, its unique design, High price point, range of options, and exclusivity meant that the Corvette C3 looked just as much at home on the streets of Grosse Pointe as they did at the raceway at Sears Point. So when it comes to pass and review, Corvette is the plucky little warship that took on the big block Leviathans in the muscle car wars. It also made waves on the street, at the supermarket, and the local car wash, with its rounded, sensual styling, which some classic car fans may find to be a bit too on the nose, as it were. Perhaps that is the reason that the C3 Corvette isn't remembered as fondly as its earlier brethren that laid the foundation for its reputation as a dream machine. The simple fact is, the third-generation Corvette remained in production for so long, and was so prolific for the period, with its unmatched silhouette and unmistakable styling, that most casual car fans won't be able to tell a 1972 from a 1982. As a result, these vets landed in the hands of a younger generation, who made it as much their own as a middle-aged aspirational buyer, or a retiree, who Chevrolet courted as their dream car customer base. And because of its long period of service, the C3 was ultimately taken for granted, which is why so many would wind up bound for the breaker's yard. For you see, the Corvette C3, as its nautical name suggests, is a fighting machine. A small but not so subtle warspite, a pint-sized destroyer of giants, one that would sail triumphantly for many years, yet in the end would ultimately be sunk to the bottom by the weight of its own success. If you enjoy automotive content like we do, consider subscribing to our channel, or check out our website to join our VIP-only high-speed chase club for early videos and other great perks.